Live from downtown Spokane, this is 4 News Now, Special Edition.
Well, it is finally here. After 50 years, Expo 74 has returned to Riverfront Park. Thanks for joining us here on this special edition of 4 News Now. I'm Jordan Smith, and this is not a World Fair Part 2, but it is a glimpse back into Spokane's history, a look back and start conversations about the city's future. Our Hunter Bertram shows us the start to this 9-week celebration.
Jordan, hundreds have already came through the doors for tonight's event. It has a capacity of 5,000 people. We won't know if they hit that mark until tomorrow. People started to line up more than an hour before doors opened. First in line was one local that told me this is her dream come true.
I'm obsessed with anything that I get to have that's older than me, and not being around for the first one, I get to partake in something that I've been collecting souvenirs from for years. So it's just so cool to actually be a part of Expo for me for the first time.
Lindsay dressed from head to toe in vintage Expo 74 gear. Her headband even made from the original jersey employees wore at the World's Fair.
This is something that I've just read about and not really got to, you get to see the pavilion, and the park is here because of Expo, but I get to be at Expo. It's just so cool. I'm just so excited.
And for some, today means months of preparation, all comes to this big moment.
It's like passing our culture. We're training the little ones over here.
Athea is performing traditional Philippine dance in the opening ceremony. So to say the least, there's something for everyone to enjoy. And don't worry if you miss the festivities today. Riverfront Park will be all things Expo until the beginning of July. You can head to our website at kxoy.com for a list of the events still ahead. In the pavilion, Hunter Bertram, 4 News Now.
Certainly a lot of excitement there. Hunter, thanks for that. And so the big question is, are you going to need a jacket to head down to the celebration tonight? We'll send things over to Matt Gray, who is tracking the weather this weekend. Matt, today, pretty decent day so far.
Pretty decent day. It was warm. It's still pretty warm right now, so we're firmly in light jacket territory. 67 and expected to stay in the 60s for most of the evening. It's really what else is going on, which is the cloudy skies, the lack of sunshine. We haven't seen much rain today, just a couple of sprinkles around town, but it certainly looks the part. And boy, that rain is coming. And everybody, for Bloomsday, this is your heads up for tomorrow morning. It is going to be a wet start to the day. We've already got some showers moving into the inland northwest. As I said, we saw a couple of sprinkles in Spokane today. Not much, though. We've seen some heavier rain, at least for the time being, around the southern end of the Palouse, into the Blue Mountains and around the Camas Prairie. And the rain coverage and intensity in this part of the inland northwest will continue to ramp up as we head through the night. Meanwhile, further north, like what we're seeing around Bayview right now, you may run into a few more sprinkles as we head later on into the evening. Here's the general timeline of how things are going to kind of increase as far as rainfall goes. As we head into that kind of 9 p.m. and beyond area, we'll have, once again, just a few light showers that may work their way through. But really, it's going to be at about 5 or 6 in the morning that things are going to really start to crank up around Spokane and around Coeur d'Alene. So right as everybody's getting gathered for Bloomsday festivities, this is going to go at least the heavier rain at least until 9 o'clock, and it is very likely that we'll continue to see rain beyond that for a good portion of the Bloomsday race. So look, there's a lot going on tomorrow. We're going to take you through the full timeline and show you how long this wet weather pattern, which we need desperately, will be sticking around. Coming up.
All right, Matt, thanks for that. On the north bank of Riverfront, you'll find an updated version of the iconic butterflies from Expo 74. The original butterflies were lilac, purple, yellow, red, and a yellow to dark red fade. As Chris Crocker shows us, it was the 1970s, and like a butterfly, Spokane emerged from a cocoon of urban blight and took flight for the world to see.
It was a magical summer. A decade after Camelot vanished from Washington, D.C., it existed again for 6 short months in Spokane. A popular song issued the invitation.
Come, enjoy Up With People.
Meet me by the river for Expo 74, and 5 million people did.
Celebrating tomorrow's fresh new environment.
Here is the actual news film shot by KXOY photographers 50 years ago. We see ourselves as we once were. Our clothes were different. Our world was different. Gasoline sold for only 51 cents a gallon, and our then Congressman Tom Foley had yet to become Speaker of the House.
Washington is a very young state. We came in the Union in 1889.
Acting in my capacity as President of the United States, it is my high honor and privilege to declare Expo 74 officially open to all the citizens of the world.
President Richard Nixon officially opened Expo 74, then a physically healthy, though politically ill, President of the United States.
Therefore, I shall resign the presidency effective at noon tomorrow.
Nixon's resignation was one of the predictions that came true that summer. Others, like this one from Lawrence Welk, did not.
It seems to me that a great many of the younger people today are moving away from the real hard acid rock and moving over to a more sensible type music, a more for melody music.
Expo 74 was an environmental exposition. Visitors to the U.S. Pavilion learned the Earth does not belong to man, man belongs to the Earth. And so it is fitting that the legacy of that World's Fair in Spokane 50 years ago is a patch of land and thundering water. Children who came with their parents to Expo 74 now bring their grandchildren to Riverfront Park.
Such a cool look back. And for the first half of the 1900s, trains carried people across the country, whether it was for business, to visit family, or returning from war, as so many did. When they saw the clock tower of the Great Northern Station, they knew they were home. The clock tower is the last remnant of those bygone years. By the 1960s, the golden era of train travel was gone. And if it hadn't been for the effort of one man, the clock tower would have run out of time. Kirsten O'Connor has that story.
I thought I failed. For 48 years, I thought I failed. My daughter's the one that convinced me that, Dad, you were the one that saved the tower, the clock tower.
Jerry Quinn is a longtime Spokane businessman and a lifelong fan of trains.
People came for 70 years to this location. Presidents, soldiers, wives, children, grandmothers came and gone from that Spokane station. It helped build Spokane into the city that it is today.
He'd only been in Spokane for a few years when plans to clean up downtown were put into motion.
This was a railroad town, and it had a lot of old stuff that was wore out, that was now receding in value.
Jerry was glad to see the heart of Spokane given a new life.
But I was trying to think of what was after Expo. That was my goal, and we did not achieve that.
While Expo organizers saw the World's Fair as a way to get rid of Spokane's past and pave the way to a new future, Jerry saw the Union Pacific Station and the Great Northern Station as part of that future.
The stations had no value unless it was sitting in the park.
He launched an SOS campaign, Save Our Stations.
We got 15,000 signatures for the ballot we put on petition, and the city put $1.5 million levy on top of my proposal for restoration.
Voters sealed the station's fate.
The stations failed to be saved, and the city responded by saying, we'll save the clock tower instead. And I was credited with saving the clock tower, but I wanted the stations because I saw the stations as having a future of events, parties, weddings, ceremonies, activities in this park that was to happen after Expo 74.
Jerry feels if the city hadn't asked for the $1.5 million, there may have been a different outcome.
But that was what I wanted to save in the 3-story configuration. The 1-story configuration we did not put in the ballot because we didn't want them impinging on the couplet and creating any less problem for the idea. I feel good about it 50 years later that the icon of Spokane is the clock tower, the Great Northern Clock Tower.
For decades, just about every major event in America, you could find the Goodyear blimp giving us a view from above. Expo 74 was one of those events. Derek Dice has the vintage Air 4 Adventure.
For decades, America has watched sporting events through a lens mounted on the Goodyear blimp. In 1974, one of the famous blimps called the Spokane Airport home. This is it, the Columbia, being launched to fly over Expo 74. The KXOI crew went along for the ride. The film shows the blimp flying over Spokane from the west. You can see I-90 and the railroad tracks below. And take a look at this, the Monroe Street Bridge, a row of railroad warehouses instead of Kendall Yards on the west side. The now blue bridge is actually red and white. The beauty of the Spokane River and the falls is on full display, just what the city had hoped for. This is the Soviet Pavilion from above. It's now the Lilac Bowl. You can follow the trail of visitors and see the riblet chairlift crossing the river and Washington Street. The clock tower, just as it stands today. The large white building on the right is the Republic of China Pavilion. The honeycomb-looking building, the Japanese Pavilion. The yellow and red dome, the Kodak Pavilion. Naomi Rogers, wife of then Spokane Mayor David Rogers, said her greatest thrill of Expo 74 was piloting the blimp as it hovered over the park.
And along with the clock tower, the Pavilion is the other iconic building that emerged from Expo 74. Take a look at this picture. Before the Pavilion was built, there was a travel lodge right where the Pavilion is today. People loved to stay there because it had a great view of the North Channel. Mark Peterson introduces us to the man who helped give Spokane that iconic building.
Tim Welsh is now the owner of Garco Construction.
It's neat. I mean, yeah, especially when you think that, we thought it was going to be torn down.
But in 1973, he was the project engineer in charge of building the Pavilion.
Yeah, Mark, there were no calculators, and we used slide rules.
Instead of building a structure of concrete and steel, he built an icon.
The clock tower and this, I mean, every picture you see of downtown Spokane, has got these in them.
Designed by John Skilling, the famous architect who designed the World Trade Center.
John Skilling designed the Sears Tower and Space Needle.
Tim and the team built the Pavilion in just 11 months.
We used slide rules, and you measured it 5 times and cut it once.
50 years later, Tim walks through the Pavilion. Kids running everywhere, learning about Expo and his Pavilion.
What's it like coming in today, looking around?
Oh, Mark, this was so neat today to walk in and see all these kids here. Yeah, the original plan was they were going to tear it down. Then I think the government probably didn't have the money, so they said, it's yours, Spokane. Keep it. What are you going to do with it?
How about turning it into a place where memories are made for generations of visitors to Riverfront Park?
Wow, it's just so cool to look back at that footage. And 4 News Now is honored to celebrate the 50th anniversary of Expo 74. We'll be bringing you an hour-long special. Expo 74, Rebirth of a City, will show you how the World's Fair changed the city of Spokane and how its legacy is still alive today. Join us for that special presentation June 5th at 9 o'clock.
And we have another iconic Spokane event coming up tomorrow. It's Bloomsday on Sunday. Here are some of the wettest days during the race, wettest years of Bloomsday during the race itself. We may be breaking this record here tomorrow. It's a lot of wet weather on the way. We'll tell you what you should be planning for and when you should be planning for some of that wet weather coming up.
Download the KXLY Plus app on your connected TV.
4 News Now is brought to you by the Women Helping Women Fund.
Fleet Feet Spokane is a proud sponsor of Bloomsday 2024.
Fresh. Always keeping veggies at their peak. Like a Bosch. Freshness lasts for weeks and weeks and weeks. Like a Bosch. Even little baby greens. Like a Bosch. Taste fresh and remain supreme. Like a Bosch. Super fridge, keeping food fresh. Like a Bosch. Eating more so you'll be throwing out less. Like a Bosch. Stay fresh like a Bosch. With America's most trusted refrigerators from Bosch.
Fred's Appliance. We sell appliances, only appliances.
Looking for fitness that fits your budget? Join Planet Fitness now through May 10th. Save big when you join the judgment-free zone for just $1 down, $10 a month. Cancel anytime. That's right. We've dropped our enrollment fee to just $1, so it's easy to start getting that big fitness energy. Never intimidating. Always free fitness training, equipment for every workout. And most clubs open 24 hours, so you can get in, get energized, and get going. Join today for just $1 down, $10 a month. Cancel anytime. Hurry. Deal ends Friday, May 10th.
Stay ahead of your moderate to severe eczema and show off clearer skin and less itch with Dupixent, the #1 prescribed biologic by dermatologists and allergists that helps heal your skin from within. Serious allergic reactions can occur that can be severe. Tell your doctor about new or worsening eye problems such as eye pain or vision changes, including blurred vision, joint aches and pain, or a parasitic infection. Don't change or stop asthma medicines without talking to your doctor. Ask your eczema specialist about Dupixent.
Sunday on MeTV.
This Star Wars collection is overwhelming.
Meet a Star Wars mega fan.
Harrison Ford's Han Solo jacket, Princess Leia's costume from Return of the Jedi.
Is that the Death Star?
It's a collection from a galaxy far, far away.
Darth Vader, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Luke Skywalker, Stormtroopers.
Is this like C-3PO dismembered? What is this?
It sort of is.
This is maybe the most valuable collection we've ever seen.
Watch Sunday on KXLY 4.2.
Fleet Feet Spokane is your locally owned resource for all your walking and running needs.
Well, it's going to be a rainy day tomorrow, so enjoy the dry weather, enjoy the beautiful conditions and the nice mild conditions while we are at it, as I'm sure many people will be enjoying Spokane, enjoying the region, and then we'll be getting up in the morning for Bloomsday. So let's talk about it. Soggy before the race, very likely to see some rain, at least at times during the race, and then by the afternoon, I expect us to have a little bit of a break. Wind's going to be out of the south and to the southwest at about 5 to 10 miles an hour, and we will see temperatures on the cool side, likely mid-40s until the afternoon. So we've got basically 2 periods of wet weather coming up for tomorrow. First is in the morning, and that'll be the wettest one, and then we have another round that's going to be coming in for Sunday night. Now, what we're going to be watching for the morning hours, which I'm sure many of you watching are most interested in, and that's going to be this round of rain to the south of Boise right here. This is going to move to the north, swing into our area, and then hang out for a little while for at least the first half of the day. So let's show you that. More rain's going to be moving into the Palouse later tonight. And then as we get into the early hours of the morning, this is about 6 a.m., so about 5 or 6 in the morning, I expect the more steady rain to start around the Spokane and Coeur d'Alene metro. It's going to go until, I think, at least 9 in the morning. Now, after that, our weather computer is diverging on how fast things are going to clear, but it would not shock me at all if we still have rain in the area till about noon or so before we start to see that break, at least for Spokane and Coeur d'Alene. Now, what happens here is that rain heads up to the north, so our northern counties get rain, and we also see some of that rain moving into central Washington. Now, look what happens here. As we get into the afternoon and the evening, that rain starts headed back, and it starts to move back into Spokane, into North Idaho, and so during the evening hours we'll get another good dose of rain, but that'll likely be not until after 6 o'clock or so. So some very much needed rain. We're behind on rain so far this spring. This is going to be the wettest kind of day and a half that we've had around here in a long, long time. So much needed. It just happens to be coming on a very inconvenient day when thousands of people are trying to get outside in beautiful Spokane, which will be a little less beautiful with the clouds and the rain tomorrow. 50 in Spokane and in Coeur d'Alene for a high. So yeah, it's going to be well below normal for this point in the year. But hey, if you are missing the warmer weather, don't worry. It's coming. We'll be in the 70s by Thursday. We'll be close to 80 degrees for Mother's Day weekend. There is a strong possibility our first 80 degree of the year is only a few days away. 4 News Now. We'll be right back.
Live stream KXLY Plus on the 4 News Now app.
Take advantage of the tax credits you can, including the annual Washington State Working Families Tax Credit. You can get money back on state taxes already paid. Visit workingfamiliescredit.wa.gov.
My mental health was better, but uncontrollable movements called TD, tardive dyskinesia, started disrupting my day.
TD felt embarrassing. I felt like disconnecting. I asked my doctor about treating my TD and learned about Ingrezza.
Ingrezza is clinically proven for reducing TD. Most people saw results in just 2 weeks. People taking Ingrezza can stay on most mental health meds. Only #1 prescribed Ingrezza has simple dosing for TD. Always 1 pill once daily. Ingrezza can cause depression, suicidal thoughts, or actions in patients with Huntington's disease. Pay close attention to and call your doctor if you become depressed, have sudden changes in mood, behaviors, feelings, or have thoughts of suicide. Don't take Ingrezza if you're allergic to its ingredients. Ingrezza may cause serious side effects including angioedema, potential heart rhythm problems, and abnormal movements. Report fevers, stiff muscles, or problems thinking, as these may be life-threatening. Sleepiness is the most common side effect.
Take control by asking your doctor about Ingrezza.
1122 King Road, where 4 University of Idaho students were stabbed to death. For one young woman, just a few short months before those murders, it was home.
That could have happened while I was there.
The bond she and her housemate shared, broken by a killer.
I feel like right then and there, I kind of just knew that something was wrong.
It's the story you haven't heard, why she's telling it now in a mission to keep every student safe. Watch The Roommate's Promise, Tuesday, only on 4 News Now at 6.
Watch KXLY Plus over the air on KXLY ABC4. Live updates, breaking news, weather every 10 minutes from the 4 News Now team. Get up to date on the information you need in just an hour. Weekdays at 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. over the air on KXLY ABC4.
4 News Now is brought to you by Trudeau's Marina.
Well, this time last week, we were still in the middle of the NFL draft, and now a few days later, those that were selected or invited to a rookie camp are already out on the field trying to make the final 53-man roster. And for the Seattle Seahawks, they'll host more than 50 players this weekend. And while that's nothing new to previous years, there is still an entire new coaching staff led by head coach Mike McDonald. Now, for the first-year head coach, he's still learning how to run a whole practice, but likes what he saw on the field for day one.
Yeah, we're training these guys to be pros, so when they get merged with the vets, that they're ready to roll. And then there's a lot of evaluation period too. There's a lot of cool tryout guys and see where see if there's a role for these guys long term and if they can stick around. So a lot of things going on out there, but yeah, it's a good start.
Now, more than 30,000 people are going to be taking part in Bloomsday tomorrow morning, and when the starting gun sounds off, the first group of athletes that are going to hit the course will not be using running shoes. Instead, they'll be using racing chairs. And for these para-athletes, crossing the finish line is a way to keep their disabilities on the sideline. Our Julian Minnesone has more.
21 athletes, one goal in mind.
I usually do shorter stuff, so this is a long race for me.
The elite wheelchair division is one of the most competitive heats at Bloomsday.
I think that there's just some events that get some magic going.
Kayla Wappitz will be competing in her second Bloomsday race. She's a former college track athlete whose career was cut short due to complications with surgery following a back injury.
I didn't really think of myself as an athlete anymore.
She connected with Parasport Spokane, which provides opportunities for para-athletes, helping them keep their disabilities on the sidelines.
Coming to a space where there's just a group of support around you is really hard to describe.
Race day numbers are nearly the same as last year. With the Paralympics in August, the elite wheelchair division did not get the same participation increase they expected.
A lot of the top-end athletes are focusing on getting qualified on the track this year, so we're missing a large number of those athletes.
In a marathon, every second counts.
Found adaptive sport as a way to switch out of the mindset that I had been in, which was taking all these things I couldn't do and transforming them into the things that I can do.
But to these Bloomies, the only number that matters is the amount of athletes they hope to inspire.
Knowing that there is an avenue for you to not only do sport and do like it recreationally, but to do it competitively as, an elite athlete, and that is a pathway for you, that's just, I think, everything.
Live stream KXLY Plus on the 4 News Now app.
It all starts with a Chevy truck. Chevy Silverado with the Turbo Max engine and best-in-class standard torque. and Chevy Silverado HD with up to 14 available camera views. Do more in a Chevy truck. Get yours now.
Get $5,750 total value on this Silverado when you trade in an eligible vehicle. That's 10% below MSRP. See your hometown Chevy dealer today.
I'm Chad Young from the Easy Home Buyer, and I pay cash for houses. If you own a house and want to sell it fast for cash, call us today for your no-obligation as-is cash offer. We buy houses in any condition, and there are no fees, no commissions, and no repairs. We buy houses with tenants, fixer-uppers, bare land, even haunted houses. Woo! Call us today or visit us online at theeasyhomebuyer.com.
Pick up the phone to inquire. Call the Easy Home Buyer.
Sarah, you've got this, okay?
You can be amazing, you can turn a phrase into a weapon or a drug. You can be the outcast, to be the backlash of somebody's lack of love. But I wonder what would happen if you say what you want to say and let the words fall out. Honestly, I want to see you what you want to say.
But they lost.
Not really. Not where it counts.
How does free college or training sound? It's possible. Washington College Grant gives eligible people money for certificate programs, job training, apprenticeships, or college. Learn more at waggrant.org. That's wagrant.org.
Salonpas Lidocaine Flex, a super thin, flexible patch with maximum OTC strength lidocaine that contours to the body to relieve pain right where it hurts. And did we mention it really, really sticks? Salonpas, it's good medicine.
4 News Now is brought to you by the Women Helping Women Fund.
We'll break out the lightsabers and may the 4th be with you. It's National Star Wars Day, a day for Star Wars fans to celebrate all things pertaining to a galaxy far, far away. You can celebrate the day by showing off your lightsaber or maybe your best Wookiee impression. Alex, this is your day.
Yeah, that's
this is
right.
for you.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I was inspired so much by The Phantom Menace, the first of the prequel series. They came out 25 years ago this month, if you can believe that. And I was so inspired that I wrote about it in my novel.
Your very own book.
Yeah, a novel, My Trip to Florida. And if I could just show you real quick before we go. Oh my goodness, we are going to run out of time.
Oh no, Alex.
Hang on, look at that.
Oh no.
Right there.
It is.
There's little Anakin Skywalker winning his little pod race.
Nice. Yeah. Wow. A Star Wars fan. Wow. From day one, Alexander has been a fan.
Live stream KXLY Plus on the 4 News Now app.